anytime he's on the field, he's a game changer. He's a playmaker. So I'm not surprised that he was the one that came up with the big play to win it for us. I mean, we fight for each other. I mean, that's everybody. I mean, I don't think they're fighting so hard because of me. I don't think they're fighting so hard because of Kevin. We fight because we have.
Myles Garrett's emotions were spilling over at a recent press conference. And listen to this, he went straight at the media while fiercely standing up for his teammate without hesitation. All eyes were on Shedeur Sanders, the young Cleveland Browns quarterback who had been catching heat for his performance, especially after a stretch of rough games. But hold up. After that Browns showdown with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Garrett was not about to let that negativity keep flying. His message? Loud, clear, unapologetic. Shedeur Sanders isn't just important to this squad. According to Garrett, he's the most dangerous playmaker on that field, period. When Garrett was asked directly about Sanders' play, he didn't sugarcoat a single thing. Instead, he seized the moment to shut down all the rumors and confusion swirling around Shedeur's name. He made it crystal clear that when Sanders is locked in, he controls the tempo and can flip a game on its head. And girl, that's exactly what happened in that win over the Steelers. Garrett's words weren't just about praising talent. They were aimed straight at the non-stop criticism coming from the media, with people questioning Sanders' ability to lead the Browns, doubting his chemistry with teammates, whispering about locker room issues, and even wondering if he could handle the pressure. The narrative had gotten out of hand. Myles Garrett absorbed all of that and responded head-on, refusing to let his quarterback be painted unfairly. According to Garrett, the idea that Sanders wasn't clicking with his teammates was flat-out false. He stressed that the entire locker room believes in Shedeur. No drama, no fractures, just unity, trust, and confidence across the board. And Garrett's final point couldn't be clearer. Shedeur Sanders
make the most of it every time you step on the field. And you know what the guy next to you has put into it. You know what this means to him. And you don't want to take this for granted.
Garrett's frustration was impossible to miss. And listen to this, it came from a place of pure loyalty and conviction. He made it clear there was zero room for questioning Shedeur's talent or his commitment to this team. According to Garrett, the real story was simple. Sanders was answering every challenge thrown his way, and it was time people admitted the veteran defensive end was speaking facts. The Browns were fresh off a massive win against their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was obvious Sanders played a major role in that outcome. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just dealing with the pressure of leading a franchise, he was also carrying the non-stop microscope of media scrutiny. Folks were quick to point fingers the moment things didn't look perfect. But hold up, on this day, Sanders showed exactly why he deserves to be the Browns' starting quarterback. With everything on the line, he delivered a performance that quieted the noise and erased the doubts about whether he could rise when it mattered. Against the Steelers, Shedeur Sanders looked calm, composed, and confident. Even with constant pressure coming from the opposing defense, he stood tall and proved he could carry the weight of the moment. The Browns were up against one of their fiercest rivals, a team known for its aggressive defense and ability to wreck quarterbacks. But Sanders didn't blink. He ran the offense with precision and accuracy, keeping things moving and pushing the ball steadily down the field. What really jumped out in this game was Sanders' poise under pressure. There were stretches where the Steelers' defense was closing fast, and it looked like he might get swallowed up. But time after time, he made the smart read, delivered accurate throws, and kept the chains moving. That calm decision-making in critical moments spoke volumes about his growth as a quarterback and his leadership on the field. Another standout part of Sanders' performance was his accuracy. All game long, he kept a strong completion rate, hitting key passes that helped the Browns control possession and dictate the flow. And here's the wild part. His showing stood in sharp contrast to Aaron Rodgers, one of the league's most recognizable quarterbacks, who couldn't quite find his rhythm. Rodgers finished with just a 53% completion rate, while Sanders was far more efficient, proving he could execute when the pressure peaked. But girl, it wasn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. Sanders' leadership was on full display from start to finish. Despite the heavy media pressure and constant criticism surrounding him, he never let it shake his approach. Instead of folding, he used that pressure as fuel to prove exactly who he is. He was playing with a purpose, determined to show he belonged, and in that Steelers matchup, he did just that. His performance sent a message that couldn't be ignored. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just some future idea for the Cleveland Browns. He was already a core piece, already impacting games, and clearly here to stay. The media had rushed to write him off way too soon, and that Sunday, Sanders made sure to remind everyone just how wrong that was. For Myles Garrett, this went deeper than defending on-field performance. It was about standing up for Shedeur Sanders as a person. Garrett's words made it clear that Shedeur wasn't just a young quarterback trying to survive the NFL. He was a leader, a competitor, and someone fully embraced by the locker room. Garrett's belief in Sanders wasn't subtle at all. Shedeur Sanders is our guy. And no, that wasn't a throwaway line. It was a declaration of trust, confidence, and belief in Sanders' ability to guide this team long-term. Garrett made it clear the Browns are in safe hands with Sanders leading the way. This wasn't only about arm talent, it was about presence, leadership, and staying cool when everything is on the line. Sanders proved he could rise in clutch moments, and Garrett wasn't letting anyone erase that. As the media kept questioning Shedeur's place on the roster, Garrett stepped in and shut it down. He refused to let anyone dismiss Sanders' work ethic, dedication, or skill. The message couldn't have been clearer. Shedeur Sanders earned his...
It's really super surprising. We got great players on the Hungry Dogs. So Sal was able to come back in and be able to get his feet wet.
The Browns' win over the Steelers marked a real turning point, not just in the standings, but in how Shedeur Sanders was being viewed. This was the game where he showed everyone, yes, even the doubters, that he could lead the Browns to a victory. He wasn't just making plays, he was making them when the moment demanded it. His calm presence, sharp accuracy, and steady poise in the pocket all played a major role in locking in that win. But listen, it was his leadership that truly separated him. For the fans, the message couldn't have been clearer. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just the future of the Cleveland Browns, he was the now. This was a young quarterback with the tools and mindset to take this team to another level. The pressure was heavy, and he answered it with confidence and skill. And now the rest of the league had no choice but to pay attention. Myles Garrett's words echoed through the locker room as the team stood firmly behind their quarterback. The Browns were no longer a team searching for direction. They were a team that believed in one another, battled for one another, and trusted one another. And right at the center of that trust stood Shedeur Sanders. Garrett's defense of Sanders wasn't about one game or a single stat line. It was about correcting the narrative. It was about telling the world that Shedeur Sanders had the full support of his teammates and the fan base. No more doubts, no more questions. Sanders had earned his respect, and Garrett made sure everyone heard it loud and clear. This wasn't just about Shedeur Sanders quieting the critics. It was about the Cleveland Browns announcing they were a team on the rise. With leaders like Garrett and Sanders setting the tone, the future looked extremely bright for this franchise. The media may have questioned Sanders before, but after this performance, they couldn't deny his talent, leadership, or clutch ability. For the Browns, this felt like the start of something new. It was a game that not only locked in Shedeur Sanders as the team's quarterback, but also showed the league the Browns were no longer to be overlooked. And Myles Garrett's unwavering support made it clear this team was fully aligned in its mission to win. With Sanders at the helm, everything felt different. The message was unmistakable. Shedeur Sanders is the leader of the Cleveland Browns, and he earned that title every step of the way. With Garrett and the rest of the locker room backing him, the ceiling for this team was sky high. As for the media, they'll have to think twice before doubting Shedeur Sanders again. He shut down the criticism and proved he could handle the weight that comes with being the Browns' quarterback. After a performance like that, it was obvious Sanders was ready for whatever challenges came next, and he wasn't backing down.
In the end, this was bigger than just one win for Cleveland. It was a statement that this team believes in its quarterback, stands behind him, and plans to build something special together. And with Shedeur Sanders leading the charge,